Now live from Forbidden Island, it's Tiki with Ray.
Thank you very much. Thank you for everyone that came out today to see this interview. And I'll tell you what, Michael, I am honored to be here. And I mean when I say this is the only place in the Bay Area that I would want to do this show.
Oh, well, thank you, Ray, and welcome. Welcome to Forbidden Island.
Because the parking's easy.
We've got a parking.
No, there's no parking in San Francisco. It's like ridiculous. And I don't want to get my window smashed, right, Alex?
That's right.
So I was planning to come down to San Francisco in the Bay Area. It was for Thanksgiving 2016. And I met Ryan Reckenmacher up in Seattle. And he used to be a bartender here. And I was saying how I was going to be coming down. And he's like, oh, you should reach out to my boss, Michael Thanos. And, you know, maybe he'll talk to you and stuff like that. You know, I'm like, okay, great, awesome. So I'll never forget, I reached out to you. And I'm like, all right, hey, I'm going to be coming into town. And I'd like to come and say hello. And you're like, all right, cool, excellent. Be down at 5 o'clock. I reserved us a table. And we'll hang out. And I'm like, okay. And I'm thinking like, all right, well, you know, we'll talk for like 15 minutes and then I'll just, you know, then you're going to go do your thing. No. Michael and I hung out the entire night. We hung out the entire night and you fed me drink and food the entire evening.
Birds of a feather.
Birds of a feather. And it was so awesome and that meant so much to me. And I'll never forget. So Michael was going to give me a tiki mug. And he had it in the box. And he had it on that arm right there of that couch, right there. And you had it sitting there. And I knew what it was. And it's sitting there, we're hanging out. And then Michael's like, hey, I got to go take care of a couple things. And Michael leaves. And while he's going, I accidentally elbow the tiki mug onto the ground. I hear it crack. And like I lift up the box and you hear like... And I'm like, oh God, what do I do? Do I just like say nothing and be like, what's going on, Michael? And, hey, this is all cracked and everything like that. And I fessed up to him like, Michael, so I listened, I kind of broke the mug. And you were like, all right, okay. So you actually gave me the new mug, the one with the porthole and everything like that. And you let me keep the broken one. And I did glue it. It's on my shelf, so I have more. But I'll tell you what, that night was so awesome. And I'll tell you what, thank you very much.
Thank you. You know, thanks, and you followed that up with a wonderful interview on your blog.
Oh yeah,
Tiki with Ray. That I felt, you know, was awesome because I felt it was the first time I really got, you know, to say my story and how this all came about. So and especially it was in print and it was very well written and. Thank you.
I appreciate that. Let's talk about your story. Michael, how did you get into all this?
All right.
Where do we go back? How far back do we go?
How far back? Okay. Till 1999. All right.
1999.
1999. Exactly 99. First of all, I mean, I've always been fascinated with, you know, retro culture and stuff like the 1950s. My dad instilled just, you know, would always just talk about the 1950s, what an amazing decade it was, and, you know, all these things. And always had a natural love for that. Well, anyway, 1999, being into retro culture, really starting to get into it. And I had my 30th birthday party coming up. So
your 30th birthday.
Looking for a
so what, you're 35 now?
So yeah, looking around for a theme, and I was getting a subscription to this magazine at the time, Modern Lounge.
Modern Lounge. What was the magazine about?
Just it's a retro throwback, fashion, cocktails, music, and cigars, as it's written here. And it was the first magazine that, at least that I was aware of, that really, you know, just featured and dealt with, you know, mid-century stuff. So I really took to it. Well, on page 22, there's an article right here, how to host the perfect tiki party.
How to host the perfect tiki party.
Put it over here. It's the first time that this actually came to on my radar, but at the same time, it felt that, you know, it felt sort of familiar. I had, you know, a love of tiki that sort of went back, even though I didn't realize it didn't have a name, it didn't spark anything. But it was a really, really well-written article, and basically just went through all the elements of like, if you're gonna host a tiki party, all the elements need to be spot on and accurate, from the food to the music to the drinks.
And it laid it all out. Like it was all legitimate.
It was very well written, especially if you figure something from 1999.
Wow.
I mean, you read it now and it seems commonplace. You know, we've all our Facebook feeds are full of this stuff now. But then that definitely wasn't the case.
Oh my God! Like, but well, when you forget that there was a point in time where there was no internet. Now there was the internet in 1999, but it was very, it was in its infinite stages. I mean, like, I don't even know if Tiki Central was Tiki Central going on at that point? Does anyone know? It started in 2000. So say you were into Tiki, or first of all, just like you said, you probably wouldn't even know there was a name for it.
Right.
And literally, you saw an article in a magazine, you're like, okay.
Yeah, and I thought, okay, well, that sounds like fun. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So, my 30th Tiki party was taken, my 30th birthday party, Tiki themed, was taken almost, verbatim.
Yep.
The book, threw out several recipes there for, zombies, Mai Tais, food such as it's got to be accurate, coconut shrimp. And then the music. Make sure you play Martin Denny, Les Baxter.
Oh, wow, it even knocked out that. Wow, okay.
It laid it out, so that was my 30th, and it was a smashing success. One thing, probably the most important thing that came from that was in the magazine as well. Mentions, of course, Don the Beachcomber and Trader Vic's. Now, I knew I'd always, I've heard of Trader Vic's. I wasn't sure on my radar or not. I grabbed the white pages. Again, no internet.
You grabbed it like
white
in the
just Trader, T. Thompson to Trader Vic's. So
you literally looked up Trader Vic's in the telephone book?
In the telephone book, yeah.
Oh my
That's
God.
how long ago it was.
So was there any, or was there one, or?
There was one, Trader Vic's right in Emeryville.
Oh, okay, the Emeryville location. Okay.
Emeryville location. So, we visited there, for the first time, and I will never forget the first time that I walked into Trader Vic's. I was absolutely blown away by the ambiance, by everything that we love about Trader Vic's, down to the point of the first sip of the Mai Tai that I had absolutely blew me away.
Yes.
And
was that your first tiki bar?
There was.
Trader Vic's was your first.
Trader Vic's, yeah, for sure. I do have recollections of being in what could have been Tiburon Tommy's back in the early 90s, but I'm not sure. It's way back there somewhere. But my first conscious, thing was Trader Vic's.
Talk about setting a high standard.
Yeah, exactly. And I was blown away. I mean, the Mai Tai, absolutely incredible. We had such an amazing time there. So then after that,
you decided that you're going to start your own tiki bar then?
Not so much that, but that happened a while later.
Yeah.
But that was definitely my first introduction to it. And then probably the second, but it was a bar that we went to, had great drinks. We became regulars. We always bring in new folks there, every week. The second big thing in my life was being in Florida. We were in Florida. I got engaged to my wife in Florida.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
We were in West Palm Beach, but heading to Atlanta. Well, I have some relatives in Fort Lauderdale, and I said, well, look, let's stop in Fort Lauderdale for a couple of days just to say hi to my relatives.
Yeah.
When we got to Fort Lauderdale, we were literally driving to our hotel room and came across the Mai Kai.
Are you serious?
The amazing, fabulous Mai Kai.
Who all here has been to the Mai Kai? Yeah, it's incredible.
I knew nothing about the Mai Kai. Again, I don't remember if I was online. Whether I was or not doesn't make a difference. I certainly didn't Google or Yahoo or whatever Tiki at the time. So it was literally a surprise. We were driving down the street. I saw this A-frame.
And you never even heard of this?
Never even
heard of the Mai Kai?
I was just, woo, what is that? And slam brakes, you know, backed up a bit, and like, okay, I need to take a look at this. Ran up there. It was still, you know, it was in the middle of the afternoon, so they weren't quite open yet. But the valet allowed me to, you know, go inside and take a peek.
Yes.
And I'll never forget walking through those hello doors for the first time, and I was absolutely, I mean, just blown away beyond compare. So we went to the hotel room, unpacked, came straight back after 5 o'clock, and pretty much closed the place down.
So let me ask you this: did you already propose to your wife to be before the Mai Kai?
Yes.
So what you should have done is you should take the ring back and be like, hey, let's do this over, but I'll do it at the Molokai or out in the Mai Kai gardens.
Yeah.
That was your second tiki bar. So Trader Vic's, Emeryville,
Yeah.
then the Mai Kai.
Then the Mai Kai.
Oh my God.
And that clinched it for me. I mean, tasting their cocktails, you know, having the, you know, the mutiny and just all these incredible, absolutely, you know, incredible tastes that I had never ever experienced before.
What was it about tiki at that point in time that fascinated you? Like, why did you like it? Like, what was it that that really struck a nerve with you?
Well, I mean, it was an escapist bar, an escapist situation like no other. I mean, it transported me as an individual to the mythical Valley High, which you know, which is something that's, you know, was definitely deep in my soul, you know, and it was just such an amazing kind of like relic almost, or I had used that word, from the 1950s. So again, something that really struck with me. So yeah, having experienced the Mai Kai, that took it to another level. So I returned to the Bay Area with an absolute thirst to know everything there possibly is or was to know about Tiki. And that's when I discovered everything else. Sven's book of Tiki, which took it to a whole nother level, you know, just all these amazing Technicolor photos of all the incredible Tiki bars of you know, yesteryear, not only in the US, but, you know, in international as well.
The thing that I find amazing again is just like how much of a lack of information there was. I mean, you say like Sven's book of Tiki. Well, that's the only book there was. I mean, that you could buy, you know, and
you don't really need much of it.
The thing that I realized, like when I got into Tiki, is that this is like a subculture of a subculture. I mean, it is kind of its own thing, you know. I mean, a lot of it. My love for Tiki bars is tied to the mid-century. What I like about my favorite type of Tiki bars are the Tiki bars that feel like they've been around forever. Like it's like a lot of people for escapism. It's like they feel like, oh, I'm being transported to an island in the South Pacific. For me, going to a Tiki bar is like a time machine.
Absolutely.
And not getting ahead of myself, but like that's the thing that I love about your bar. Your bar opened up in 2006, but this bar feels like it's been around forever. So right now it feels like it's 1956. You know.
Exactly. Definitely intentional.
So you've been to the Mai Kai. You've been to Trader Vic's.
Yep.
And then what happened?
Came home, as I said, with this thirst of knowledge to find out everything and anything I could about Tiki. And then I discovered that there are Tiki places amongst us. It is around, you know. I discovered for the first time places like the Tonga Room.
Oh, yes.
You know, Bamboo Hut. A little place called Sneaky Tiki had just sort of opened at about that time in San Francisco in the old Hamburger Mary's spot. Didn't last long, but it kind of opened around that year. Temple Bar in Berkeley. You know, anything that I could find that was Tiki related, I went to it. And it was great. I love these places. I love the atmosphere. I loved everything about it. But one thing troubled me greatly.
What's that?
That their cocktails was just so not up to par with anything that I had at the Mai Kai, with anything that Trader Vic's was doing. And this was something that was just in my mind. It was I couldn't let go. And I like, you know, like my wife would say another time, you know, let's go over here, let's go back there. Yeah, we can go, but there's something about it. You know what I mean? It's. No, I wish they could just do drinks the way places, you know, the
Oh my God! Well, if you want to talk about, like, you say a Mai Tai or a zombie in the '90s or even like the early 2000s, essentially it's whatever the bar decides that they want to call it. And it's like, okay, rum, pineapple juice, grenadine. There you go. That's our zombie. You know, like the idea that there was an actual recipe for a lot of these places was just they didn't even realize that. I mean, it wasn't until I think the rise of the craft cocktail movement really brought back the cocktails.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you're like, all right, I want to learn to make better cocktails, or cocktails that are as good as the Mai Kai.
Yeah. And
so what did you do?
Well, I just kind of felt the time was right to open up a tiki bar, but you know, one that actually did the type of cocktails that were all, you know, that well, not unlike what the Mai Kai was doing, but also what I was reading in the book of Tiki. These elaborate, layered rum extravaganzas, you know, everything that we know now as the classic tiki cocktail.
Yeah.
You know, I've almost felt like a calling that.
So really, so your drive to open up your own bar was because like, hey, I think I can do this better, essentially, or like at least what was out there outside of like the major players.
Exactly. I mean, not so much that I was comparing that like I can do it better, but I just felt I wanted to do it and I wanted it to be right and real. I wanted to give folks the type of experience, tiki experience, that I felt when I walked into the Mai Kai, or you know, or that you get at Trader Vic's. Now keep in mind as well, this is, you know, almost 30 years ago, well, or 20 years out, lose track of time, you know, it's. Trader Vic's also wasn't the type of place that we know today. You know, it didn't have a young crowd. It was very, you know, it was skewed. Yeah, it was skewed to, you know, definitely the sort of like an older clientele. The longest time were the youngest people in the joint. You know, when I come with my wife and our friends and stuff like that. It was definitely very much. It didn't have the sort of like young appeal that it does now.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so you know, Book of Tiki, all these amazing images, drinks, all this stuff. I was like, okay, you know, I'm. And then also, we had a family business in Oakland, basically from 1991. Yeah. And so even there, then I started sort of, you know, discovering the Tiki connection, the Oakland Tiki connection. Okay. Basically, the as we know now, is a fact that, you know, the Mai Tai was created in Oakland. Oakland.
Oh wow! I didn't know. Wow. Okay.
Oakland was home to some of the, you know, I mean, amazing. Tiki bars that were featured in Sven's book. Not only, of course, the original Trader Vic's, but the Zombie Village, the original Zombie Village, which was incredible. Oh, wow. The photos of that, you know, menu just blew me away. I even discovered that we had a place called the Valley High, where the Kaiser Center is now, on 20th and West Grand Avenue, Valley High. Definitely haven't seen a lot of photos of that. But anyway, starting to discover this huge Oakland connection or Oakland Tiki crossover. Yeah. I was like, perfect. Well, here we go. I'm going to open and create the first new Tiki bar in Oakland since the 1960s, which is when I believe the Zombie Village opened. Wow. And that's not it, but it's going to be, well, of course, an homage to, you know, mid-century Tiki. Yeah. And we're going to serve the types of drinks. We're going to go right back. Thanks to Peach Bunbury. Yeah. You know, his stuff was already out at the time, and I was aware of it. I'm going to go right back to serving the original recipes, you know, for these drinks, and allow people to experience these types of drinks. Have our generation experience that for the first time ever, you know, in a commercial environment.
Now, before you started your own Tiki bar, have you had any experience in the restaurant business before that?
Oh yeah, well, I mean,
okay.
Yeah, since 1991, I've been part of a family pizza business, which was had up to 4 locations.
Okay, so you had a business sense of
yeah, and more than that, I had a location.
You already had the spot.
I had the spot. Above Pizza Rustica was a second floor. That thank you. We acquired that in 1995 as you know, as second floor of service. Now, definitely by the end of the 90s, by that stage, 99, 2000, 2001, business had definitely died down. That we really weren't using that overflow space so much.
Yeah.
We were just using this for private parties, and possibly on, overflow on like a weekend. But that was it. Yet we were paying rent on this fully fledged space. So I convinced my brothers to. Apply for a liquor license, and I said, let's convert this into a tiki bar.
Above a pizza shop.
Above a pizza shop, yeah. And they were like, a what? What are you talking about?
You're like, they're like, well, are we gonna serve pizza at this tiki bar, or like?
So I basically laid out the concept to them. We went back to all the places in the city. Tonga had a Tonga room and all these places. Took photos, laid out the photos for my brothers, and was like, okay, this is tiki. This is what I want to do. Whether they understood or not, they certainly liked my enthusiasm, and they were like, let's do it. Let's do it. So, Conga Lounge was the result of that. Opened in 2003.
2003.
The first new tiki bar in Oakland since the 1960s.
Unbelievable.
It was not just a tiki bar like Sneaky Tiki at Open San Francisco. Oh, we're a tiki bar. No, this is a retro, classic style tiki bar that celebrated the Mai Kai as an Oakland original, that promoted the Mai Tai as an Oakland original.
So you were making the 44?
Yeah, absolutely.
Kevin, were you there?
It's a great. I did visit. It's great.
Yeah, Kevin, Ultimate Mai Tai. I mean, if he says it's a good Mai Tai. So how long did this tiki bar go on for? 2003.
Opened in 2003. We actually sold the business and the tiki bar and all that in 2015. So it actually lasted 13 years, which is crazy because it had never been expected to. But yeah, at first the results were sort of lukewarm. Folks just, didn't know exactly how to take to it. It was still little, dark days of tiki.
Yeah.
And even during the build-up, we had folks, sort of asking us and going like, why a tiki bar? Why would you do something like that? Or, even a snide comment like, you're seriously going to open a tiki bar? What are you going to serve?
That was the reaction? You're seriously going to open a tiki bar?
Yeah. And followed with, what are you going to be serving? Mai Tais? Ha 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 ha.
You're like, yeah, 44 is to be exact.
That's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to bring tiki back. And, we're going to sneaker out of most folks. But anyway, we stuck with it.
So.
But it was great, Conga Lounge took off, and definitely by the next few years, 2006, we were getting incredible media attention, and I felt the time was right for the dream. When I say
the dream.
And when I say dream, I say Conga Lounge is always just the convenient. Here's the space. Here's the concept. Not a lot of capital. Let's try this. Let's make this happen. So, and see if tiki can work in this day and age. Well, I was happy with the answer. In 3 years of running Conga Lounge, I felt there was something there.
3 years.
The time is right now for the dream. And the dream was always to find the perfect location where, I was sort of leaning towards a dive bar that we could convert into a classic 1950s, classic mid-century style tiki lounge. The type of places that was, all over Sven's book.
I'm getting chills as you're telling me this story. I really am.
And all these places, yeah.
Lincoln's Address.
So,
which is what this bar was before it became Forbidden Island.
Yeah.
And that was, and I've seen pictures of that, and that was kind of like a local bar. I mean, I've been to divier bars than that, but it was definitely. But you saw the vision, though.
I saw the vision, absolutely. And we've been looking around at spaces, at locations. We've been looking in the city. We were actually, at the time, put in a bid for the, Fifth Amendment on Lakeshore, which later became Easy Lounge. Actually, we were like in contract. And my brother, one thing led to the other, and my brother met the owner of Lincoln's Address at his other bar called the Pop-Up, which used to be on Park Street. Pop in on Park Street, and he said, hey, I'm selling my bar. I'm on Lincoln if you want to go by and take a look. Well, my brother called me. I came by. I took a look at it, and I was immediately, once again, blown away. It was perfect. You know, it was the standalone building with a parking lot at the back, completely sealed off from the outside world.
No windows.
No windows.
That's the main.
Other than 4 nautical-themed stained glass windows on the facade. And it was just perfect. I mean, a lot of the places we've been looking at, even Fifth Amendment as well, had, you know, these big windows. They were in thoroughfares. It suddenly just did not feel right.
And I'll tell you what, Michael. I mean, here's the thing. Like, not that I have rules for a good tiki bar, but just like we're talking about with escapism, you know. The idea is that you walk through the door, and now you're transported. You're no longer in the real world now. You're in this whole other reality. And I think it's very, very important to be cut out from the outside world. I mean, no windows, the better. And that's the thing about this bar, is that you walk through, it's like the outside is gone.
Hey gang, we'll get back to the tiki conversation here in just a second, but I want to let y'all know they have t-shirts for sale. They are screen printed in America. The artist is Tony Canepa, and they're going for $20 a piece, $25 including shipping. If you're interested in buying one, go to my website, tikiwithray.com, and then there's a tab that says buy a t-shirt. Click on there and just follow the prompts. So thank you very much. So let's get back to the tiki conversation now.
So I was talking with my friend Otto von Stroheim, and well, one day I was like, hey, you know, we're in contract for this place in Alameda. I need to find a partner, a general manager.
Yeah.
You know, what do you think? And he was like, He was like, Martin Kate. We met, and I let him know that, you know, we were in contract for this bar and what our plan was, and that we were looking to bring someone on board. And he was very interested right from the word go.
So the decor that we have here, whose vision was this? Was it yours, his, all combination of you?
It was a combination. It was definitely a combination, yeah. Again, once he came on board, we met several times to basically, you know, lay the groundwork of what Forbidden Island was going to be, what it, you know, would look like, and everything else came in the picture. You know, fresh juices, homemade syrups, you know, premium well drinks made right.
Yep.
You know, and a rum bar as well. It was Martin's thing. That's, you know.
Yeah, I think he likes rum a lot.
Yeah, he's always been,
Just a little bit.
And yeah, he was insisting that it's not just going to be a tiki bar, it's going to be a rum bar as well. We're going to have the largest selection of rum in the country.
Wow, okay.
You got it. You got it, dude. Perfect. Let's make this happen. So, yeah, Conga Lounge didn't hold the title of first only tiki bar in Oakland for too long. Kona Club opened in 2005 with an absolutely incredible build by Bamboo Ben and Crazy Al.
Yeah, it's a great bar.
Yeah. And so
I recommend the macadamia nut chichi.
yeah. They stole from us, but anyway, that's another story.
Hey. Well, it makes sense then.
Yeah.
So when did Forbidden Island open up?
So it was a year later. And
2006, right?
2006, yeah. Almost right away after, you know, we brought Bamboo Ben into the fold to do the build out.
Oh, Bamboo Ben did the build?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Of course.
Of course. Yeah, Bamboo Ben did the build.
I'll tell you what, he's like the miracle worker.
Yeah. And you know, after having seen the amazing stuff he did at Kona, and of course we were all so, you know, we were huge Tiki Central TCers, as we called ourselves. So there was just, you know, Forbidden Island was going to be the first, basically, you know, first Tiki Central tiki bar, you know. So we enlisted a lot of folks who were, you know, VIPs, so to speak, on Tiki Central. You know, Hanford Lamore did our first menu. Humu Humu did all the, you know, MySpace publicity at the time. So this was really a Tiki Central collaboration, and the first ever, you know, the first bar to ever open up as that spawned directly from Tiki Central.
Wow. And you did everything right.
And we did everything right.
Yeah.
times. Yeah, but because that was our ambition. I mean, it's like, look, we were well aware that we were opening up in the middle of a residential area. This was not a thoroughfare. This was going to have to be a destination bar. We're on this, random island that a lot of people didn't even know about at the time. The most common phrase at the time is, "Where the hell is Alameda?"
Yeah, I guess we kind of are a little ways away from San Francisco.
Yeah. And we knew that if this was going to be a success, all elements had to work. And we just started talking amongst ourselves about the wow factor, that it's really important to wow folks the moment they walk through the door, the moment they sit down, the moment they open that menu, and of course the moment they have that first sip of that first drink. So we work to cover all those areas.
It's so weird. I mean, like, time goes by so fast. Because in my mind, I think like, 2006, that wasn't long ago. Now that's 13 years ago. No, is it longer? Is that 13 years?
It's 13 plus 14.
And now the thing is, it's like, this bar's been around over a decade, and you could, it's worn in now, in a good way.
Yeah.
So now it feels like a bar that's been around.
Yeah, but it was that way by design as well.
So I want to talk to you about all the money that's hanging above the bar.
So that was not part of our design aesthetic. Everything else you see, yeah, there was, but we had a clean ceiling. When we first opened, the customer sort of sat down on the other side of the bar there and noticed this almost cork-like false ceiling that we have there, and sort of asked if he could pin a dollar bill up. We thought that was okay. I mean, is this for good luck, or is it? Well, yeah.
Is it for good luck?
And it's like, well, look, this is something that stems, right back to World War II, when sailors headed off to fight in the South Pacific would leave a dollar bill at their favorite bar as a good omen that it would be there, and that they would return alive and well and spend that bill. So it's like, well, look, I've no intention of using this again.
Is that where that idea came from?
That was according to this guy. I mean, now, with Wikipedia and stuff, again, we're finding that there's definitely a similar thing going all the way back to the gold rush. But nevertheless, in this
The
case,
idea that you're going to come back again.
we ran off with that one. Yeah. And we're like, perfect, yeah, go for it. Stick the bill right in. The second person came and did the same, and the third, and before you know it, boom.
Your entire bar is covered in bills.
Although I must say, the intensity and the density of it kind of took place in the last 8 to 10 years. Occasionally it was a dollar bill here, a dollar bill there, a little message here, a message there. Looking back now, even at about 2009, the ceiling was really sparse, even a lot sparser than what we see here today. But in the last 8 to 10 years, it really took off.
Yeah.
And it took off in a big, big way.
It's covered. It's covered in bills.
And this is nothing. I mean, by up till a couple of months ago, it was covered to such a density that if you were to put a dollar bill in, from any of these bar stools, turn right back again, you wouldn't be able to find your dollar bill. It was that absolutely covered, and it had completely spread. The booths were full of bills. The thatch was full of bills. People were putting bills in the floats, even in the poor little pufferfish. They were getting bills on that, and it just got to a point where I was like, okay, I like the concept, I like what's going on here, but this has got to be reset. Enough. It's taking over. It's literally taking over. It was never part of our design aesthetic, and I don't want it to take over this bar. So that's when we decided as a staff that we were going to take down all the dollar bills, salvage, whatever we could, however much there was going to be, 1,000 or 2,000, however much there was going to be, and donate that to charity. And
Wow, that's
so
awesome. Yeah, that's great.
Of course, the biggest surprise was when we actually did take everything down, and it took a good part of 3 weeks to count and go through and sort all of that out. But the amazing thing is that not only didn't we have just 1,000 or 2,000, our best estimates was 4,000 or 5,000, and it blew those estimates away. We actually had exactly, and not including foreign currency, but we had $10,367 up on that ceiling. Which is really, really astounding.
And you gave that all to charity.
Yeah, well, we had about $9,000 of salvageable bills. And another 1,500 here of bills that just could no longer be considered currency. You know, it's too much artwork. George Washington is now Darth Vader, and there's a lot. So all those bills went back up, and then we sorted whatever we deemed was salvageable, and that totaled $9,000. Again, completely blowing out any sort of expectations or best guesses that any of us had.
Michael, that's so awesome. It's like you opened the bar in 2006, literally giving back to the community in 2019. You know, you're a saint. And this is.
It's not my money. It's everybody who's coming to Forbidden Island in the last almost 14 years that has contributed dollar bills up there.
And just that, you know, you started in 2016. It's 2019. You're still going strong.
Thankfully.
And that says something. And I just think what's amazing that it all stemmed from an article in a magazine in 1999, but it literally laid the foundation of how to do things right.
Right. I mean, it was clearly it was something deep down, but the article was a trigger. The coincidental coming across the Mai Kai was a trigger. Visiting Trader Vic's for the first time. All of those things just triggered.
So they talk about the different waves of Tiki, you know, first wave, second wave, third wave. And they talk about the second wave started, like the Tiki revival. And everyone I've talked to about, like when they got into the Tiki into the 90s, into the early 2000s, a lot of it was all about discovering old stuff. Going to a thrift store and potentially finding a Tiki mug, finding it on a shelf, looking through the records, maybe finding a Martin Danielle or Les Baxter. If you're going to go to any kind of Tiki bars, I mean, it was a Tiki bar that would have happened to be still around for a surviving Tiki bar. It seems to me that the third wave, so when I picture the third wave, it's all about when people started creating new stuff. There's new artists. There's new Tiki mug makers. And most importantly, new Tiki bars opening up. And as far as I see it, Forbidden Island was the first Tiki bar done right in 2006. So I think, in my opinion, like the third wave is like you guys. To me, that's the. Okay, now we're looking into the future.
Yeah, it spawned here. The whole Tiki revival that we know and love today began right here in Forbidden Island, 1304 Lincoln Avenue.
Everybody, Michael Thanos.
Hey gang, this is Tiki with Ray, and I just want to say thank you very much for checking out my video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to see more episodes, click on the subscribe button. And if you liked the video, give it a like. That would mean a lot to me. And if you have any comments or suggestions, please leave a comment in the comment section below.